make it, but they've asked if I could record it, so I've started the recording process. And just a couple more seconds, and we're going to begin.
Sounds good.
All right, we've got one more joining us, and then we'll start. Second. And also, on your dashboard for GoToMeeting, there is a area you can type in a message. So if, well, for whatever reason you don't want to actually interrupt me with your voice, which I encourage you to do, by the way. I'll say that once again. I encourage you to interrupt me because I like that conversation back and forth. It helps me get a better idea whether or not what I'm sharing with you makes any sense. So, but if you're, a little bit shy and you'd rather just type in your message, feel free to do that in the message box, and I will check that every so often to make sure that we're covering your questions. So we'll begin, and welcome everybody to the basics on Sync. Sync is the replacement of the old eOffice tool from Harrison Publishing House. And I say it's a replacement because it has all of the same data that eOffice has had for all these years, and certainly for the century-long history that Harrison Publishing has been bringing to the table through its Bradford books and volumes that's published for years and years, then eOffice. And now this is the new version of it. It's called Sync, spelled C-I-N-X. And what I want to bring you through here is basically just an introduction so you get the lay of the land. I'm using one of my two accounts. This is a kind of vanilla account, more like what you guys would have when you first log in. I have a more expanded account where when we get into some of the more detail workshops, and by the way, this is meant to be short. They're set up to be 20 minutes long, so I try to fit a lot in the 20 minutes because I want it to be worthwhile for you guys. But at the same time, I know you all have other duties, other responsibilities, so we want to keep it short. So today's introduction really is just to give you the lay of the land and to better understand it. If you are a current user here of Harrison Publishing House, then you would automatically get one of these accounts, so there's no cost to it if you've had eOffice as an account. So I would think, why not? Why not go ahead and get your account information, a password, and begin exploring the potential of what Sync can do for you. And there is a lot that Sync can offer to a company way beyond what eOffice was able to offer, but it takes some time to, number one, understand what that potential is, and number two, just to get the experience to use it. Frankly, I think it's a really well-tuned user interface, so it's very easy, I think, to pick it up on your own. So let's start. All right, first off, I'm going to log out here. I'm logging out so you can see exactly how you log in. Back to sync.com, and this is exactly where you would go. Once you have your account information, you go to sync.com, C-I-N-X.com, and you go to login. And this is my login, the last one that I used. And plug in here. Now I know what's going on. It's got nothing to do with Sync. It's got to do with a password management system that I use that always gets me in trouble at this point. Street Vineyards. This is a made-up. You have to have a real email address. So I've used a lot of mine over and over and over again. I have to retype this in. Oh my gosh. It's not letting me do it. All right, one more time. And then I'm going to go to my other account.
Is he the owner?
There we go. All right. So this logs me into my account. All of you would have the same thing. So once you log in, you wouldn't have, by the way, the issues that I had. If you notice, I had 7 different accounts there, and it had nothing to do with Sync. The issue had everything to do with my password saving software. I think at 7, it goes south on me. That's why I have to type it back in. Anyways, this made-up company is called KSV Contracting. You would have your name, your business listed here, your account. In my case, in this very vanilla system, I've just got myself as a member. There are 2 projects that are being saved so far that I've built, and I have 0 catalog items. So this is more in keeping with what a brand new user would have. You would have 0 items here in your catalog. We're going to talk a lot about that as time goes on in these workshops. But right now, the most important thing is this is your landing page. Your landing page has your tools that come down this navigation bar here, your menu bar. We're going to talk about them in just a second. You also have on the right-hand side this expanding and collapsing thing that's called Utilities pane. The Utilities pane, this thing on the right, everybody has this, is where your specific data sets are kept. And I say your specific data sets, it's unique to your company. Nothing to do with another mechanical contractor around the corner or in another state or Harrison Publishing for that matter. The Utilities pane is where you keep information about your projects. As you referenced over here, there are 0 catalog items. When I expand my catalog lines, there's nothing there. All right? As you build out your catalog, you would have access to your catalog lines here, and we'll be talking about that. There's a whole workshop about building out your catalog. If you've got, if you use Sync to manage bill of materials or build assemblies out, this is where it would be kept, and we've got 1 here already built. And RFQs that you send to your vendors, of course, then that's what you have over here is a relationship. You can use Sync to communicate and collaborate with the vendors, your suppliers. And why not? I mean, when you think of the new age that we're in construction and using digital data, the whole movement these days is in collaboration. Versus in the old days, it used to be one for themselves and not any, you know, take care of yourself. Don't worry about anybody else on the project. Just do your job well. Nowadays, the construction sort of philosophy is let's work together. Let's be more efficient. Let's use the expertise from the overall project team together. So why, in regard, your suppliers are certainly part of that collaboration and that collaborative effort. So Sync brings that whole thing into bear here in a specific tool. And so, of course, if you're building an RFQ, you're going to send that to your vendors, and you're going to get from your vendors quotes back. And this is where you store both the RFQs that go out and your quotes back. This is if you're going to use Sync to integrate with your back office software. And we talk about back office software being anything from QuickBooks to very sophisticated ERP systems like Timberline, Sage Timberline, or a variety of others. Sync can interact and integrate where you know, where we pass and share data back and forth. So you can use Sync to actually create purchase orders and automatically populate other software tools with it. And I won't get into linked applications today at all. Down this left-hand side here, you have this first icon called the dashboard, and that's what we're on here. We're on the dashboard. So when I open up a link, we have a dashboard link here, and we'll have a dashboard link over here. And what that's sort of the first little tip or trick, I'd say, that I recommend to everybody to keep in mind is that there is this concept of utilizing the browser. Oh, I should have kind of got ahead of myself. The tool is available, as you can see here, through a browser. I'm using Chrome as a browser, all right? So this is my Chrome settings, but every browser has pretty much the same set of functions and the same set of capabilities here as Chrome does. We support the majority of all browsers, so whatever your favorite is would work. And my favorite is Chrome. So one of the nice parts about a cloud-based software tool, and that means you don't have to install a single thing on your computer. That means also that when you update your computer with other software or versions of your base operating system, you don't have to worry one bit about updating with Sync software, because as long as you can open up a browser window, you're going to have your application, your Sync application, your database from Harrison available to you. So that makes it very, very simple to manage. And that's a big step forward for any company that doesn't necessarily have core competence in IT kinds of technologies and staying current. All you need is just the basic understanding of how to ensure that you have a browser or availability of browser capability on your computer, and you will have every bit of the functionality of Sync. It also makes it very easy for Harrison Publishing House to bring updates to the table, because basically they're going to do that behind the scenes. So one day, at the end of the day, you close out your use of Sync, you log in the next day, there very well may be a new set of functionality and new tools there, but it will all work for you. And if there ever is a case where it doesn't work, of course, we want to hear if there's some function that didn't work for you. We want to hear right away for it, because the real nice part about an application like Sync, they call it software as a service, is that a change can be made almost within a few minutes. If there's something broken, it can be fixed. We just would need to hear from you that something wasn't working properly. And updating it is really, really easy. Ed, so let's talk a little bit more about these tools that are available to you. The dashboard is the first page, and typically what you're going to find here, you'll find news and updates. You're going to get these alerts. These are system alerts that may tell you that things are available. A particular function might have been completed that you asked Sync to do for you. So this is more a communication between Sync and yourself to let you know that things have occurred here. You also have quick links. That means that you can do very quickly do something with one of these particular tools here. You can do a search for new materials. You can start a project, create a customer, build a bill of material, import a bill of material, create an RFQ, or create a purchase order. For whatever reason, this is a very quick way of being able to do it. There's multiple ways of accomplishing all of these things, and that's another nice thing about this kind of technology, is that there's just a variety of ways of accomplishing the same sort of stuff. In addition, you'll have different summary tables. This one is recent projects that have been added, and recent customers that have been added, customer requests, customer quotes, et cetera, et cetera. In this case, I said this is a vanilla system, so there's nothing populated here. And just at the end of our session today, I'll show you one that an account of mine that's fully engaged and has a ton of information here that's relevant. Now, of course, all of this stuff can be managed right here. Okay, close this out for a second. This display controller basically allows you to set up what you want to see. So right now, I don't have any vendor transactions, I have a recent customer, but quotes, customer requests, all of those I'm checking off, so I'm resetting. Excuse me, I don't want to reset. I want to basically just save those. So get rid of that one, responses, transactions, quotes, customer requests, and that'll be it. And now those are gone. So that's how I manage my page, is through that display controller. If I was reset, it would reset, as you'll see here. It'll put all those items back as it was. Now I can also X out of them here on the side. It's just another way of managing that landing page of mine. And you can move these around, like for instance, if your alerts aren't as important, but your dashboards is more important, you can come down here, grab it, bring it up here, and now you've put your alerts down below. So that little plus sign is what you'd hold on to with your mouse and move it over. So if I want to move that over here, easy enough to do. Okay, so that's my dashboard page. This is an important page, only in so much that if you're going to have more than just yourself, and we're going to do that. Now here's that one tip or trick that I was talking about, and that is I'm going to use my mouse button. I'm going to use my right mouse button, and as you can see, I've got some submenus now, and this is all based on the browser. I use my right mouse, and I'm going to open up a new tab. Now, why this is important is because, as you can see here, I'm able to come very quickly back to that first page, that dashboard, or go to this particular tool. Where it really shows you the value, let's just show you the searching capability real quickly. So I opened up search with that right click, and now I can go between searching for new items that I might need pricing for, or I might want to build out my catalog with particular items. And keep in mind, this is searching that 3 million item repository. That was also the same repository that populated eOffice. Okay, that's called the HPH Plumbing Mechanical Library. So you'd be searching this with keywords. We do have a workshop on searching, so we'll be going through all this in detail during that workshop. All right, but I just wanted to show you that you have this capability with that right click to be able to move between searching and some other function, and there are these other multiple functions here that you might be using Sync for, and it's just a really neat way and a quick way of going and not having to refresh that page, and that takes, you know, it doesn't take all that long. It may take a couple seconds, but if you're constantly, refreshing pages, and even though it might be, let's say, 5 seconds of time, if you multiply that 5 seconds times, let's say you do it 100 times a day, that becomes quite expensive. So as is in the case today in mechanical construction, and the whole, construction approach called lean construction, which is finding efficient ways, better, more efficient ways of doing things, finding savings of 5 seconds of time of a particular activity that's done multiple times in a day is a very cost-effective way of making your company that much more efficient. So in many ways, Sync reflects that, that philosophy of lean construction. So let's just go down here a little bit more. This next icon is the customer. We're going to open that link up in a tab. So here is what I want to explain here about your customers is the way that Sync is built. It's built around a couple different frameworks. One of them is how data is stored per an entity called customer. So at the highest level, you have customers. Customers have buildings, and we could use a university for an example. So let's say the University of Chicago is a customer of yours. University of Chicago has multiple buildings. And so think of it as a tree structure, like a folder structure. At the highest level, you've got My Documents. So My Documents has subfolders below My Documents. Those subfolders, comparing it to the framework here of customers is going to have buildings. So if customers is equal to My Documents, buildings are equal to those folders underneath your My Documents. So you have customers, you've got their buildings, and then you have projects. So here are your customers, and here are your projects, right? So let's take a look at one of these customers, right? Emerson Construction. So I'm going to open up Emerson Construction here, company. So here is the highest level of data that I'm going to be managing over time, my customers, right? Now, keep in mind, as a user, you do not have to use Sync around this construct. The nice part about Sync is it's incredibly flexible, and depending on whatever aspects of it is going to make your company a better company, a more efficient company of using digital data, then there are tools here to help you. You don't have to use every single tool that's here. If you're just going to use Sync, update and estimating tool, then that's just fine, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. But if you want to use some of the other capabilities, that's what these workshops are for, to help you see what those are. So here at the highest level, as I mentioned, it's customer. So of course you're going to have more than one customer. In my case, I just have one. This is just a basic vanilla account. So this customer might have multiple buildings. So let's open up, right-click, open up a tab, and take a look at how many buildings. I think I only have one. Yep, I just have one building here, and it's called Grand School. So let's now take a look at how many projects there are. I think I have 2. Yep, there are 2 associated with that one building. So to take a look at any one of these, I'm going to right-click. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Let's go back, do that again. Right-click, open link, and a new tab. As you can see, I opened up a new window. You could do that as well. So here is that bottom sub-folder. At the highest level, it's Emerson Construction. There was just one building, and then at the bottom here, there are 2 projects. So here is the concept of a project. Here's a whole bunch of tabs relevant to that particular project. In my company, in a linear, repeatable way, whenever we're awarded a project based on an estimate, we create using just a basic blank project. We open up a blank project and we fill it with materials. So let's talk about that. So I'm going to go to click on materials. You should see I didn't use a right click that time. I just clicked it with my left click. So here's the 5 or 10, 15 seconds it takes to populate that page. So we've got, and I just checked to see if there were any questions. There were no questions, and nobody's interrupted me, but please, if I'm going too fast for you, or if you've got a question, don't hesitate to say, hey, Dave, wait a second, I got a question. So I'm stop for a second just to see if there's any questions. And I also just noticed how much time it is. I've got to that 1 minute, 1 o'clock and 21 minutes, so I've gone over by 1 minute. So I'm going to basically put off getting into the details of how I brought information and data into this project. But I'm just going to give you a sneak preview. I brought it in based on an estimate that was completed, that was awarded to my company. Once it was awarded, I took all the raw data from my estimate, including the work breakdown structure. And if you're an estimator on the telephone call today, you know what I mean by a work breakdown structure. The work breakdown structure is basically how I, as an estimator, categorized and organized that particular project. Now, I might have done that based on contract documentation, the specifications or drawings, but as you can see here, this is the work breakdown structure that I brought to the table in my estimate based on, now, this is a very simple one, so I bet, oh, no, we got a multiple floors here. I don't even know where this data come from clearly, but we've got multiple floors. But when I select any one of these things, let's take floor 3, what I'm going to see is all the mechanical elements associated with floor 3 that came to me via that estimate. So here it is. How many pages is it? Okay, 4 pages, 100 per page. So 400 items from floor 3 that relates to just those items associated to floor 3. So I'm not going to get into any more detail about that because this is just an overview. And just to finish up, we talked about vendors. Like I said, there's a whole session on vendors. I thought this is a project, so we talked about projects. And then there is this thing about catalog, and I'm just going to open it up real quickly. This is my catalog, and I have no data because this is a vanilla system. I haven't built my catalog yet, but I am going to log out and log into my full-fledged system here, and that would be right here, I believe. And let's take a look at if I can log into that one. This is MMM Contractors. It should be anyways. And let's see what we got going here. Yep, MMM Mechanical. Look at my catalog here, 151,000 items in it. Now, this is way more items than any one mechanical contractor, regardless of how diverse a project type you support in your construction company. But let's take a look at that catalog now, and I'll show you. Here are my catalog items fully fleshed out, and this is just at the top level. So as you can see here, I've got it organized around boilers, but mostly it's around material type, brass and chrome, brass fittings, carbon steel. So that, I hope, gives you a little bit of a snapshot into the tool. Ask if there are any questions. I don't see anyone typing anything in.
How do you bring your data? How do you bring your data in? Is that like from QuoteSoft? Is that based on your takeoff in an Excel-based spreadsheet, or how is that?
Yes, exactly. Let's just use that as an example. All these other icons. So everybody has these tools, right down to catalog. Okay, but these things that come below here, this is the software services that you enable through your contract with Harrison, specific to the estimating tool or the CAD modeling tool that you wish to keep updated with sync pricing. Okay, so I've got Autodesk Fabrication. I've got an add-in tool for Autodesk Fabrication, building data, viewpoint, all the way down to QuoteSoft. Here's my QuoteSoft. Right-click, open in a new tab. And let's take a look at my QuoteSoft. By the way, you see all these X's. That's because I logged out of my vanilla system, and this is my new thing. So it X's out all the other items here. So this is my QuoteSoft this is where I would be updating with pricing my software tool. Now, QuoteSoft either has just recently released or will be releasing shortly a new version of their software where this updating process can take place within their QuoteSoft quick quote pipe, I think it's called, within their tool. So if they've released that, I know they've been testing it. I just don't know if they've released it yet. You'll be able to update it from within their tool. But in the meantime, or at any time you want, you can also update your pricing directly from that QuoteSoft. Let me get back down here. From that, you would have this icon on your menu. You right-click it, and this is the page you get. And we're going to talk about that when we in one of the upcoming sessions. I believe it's the next one. I'll show you how you do that. But it basically is use the most recent. It's all chronologically based, so you can see the most recent is at the top here. You download that update, and then you open up QuoteSoft, and you follow the menu item there for updating pricing. And it's as simple as that. You just point to where you downloaded it to.
If you have a remote user with QuoteSoft, will that automatically update to the cloud for them to use, or do we still have to?
Yes, there's actually a button in the old version, the old QuoteSoft that's been around since this past summer, and it actually says sync in it. Right. It wasn't working. So the new updated tool that they've been working on, and do you happen to know whether you've gotten notice that there's a new update available for QuoteSoft?
No, when I click on the button, nothing happens.
Yeah, that's because it's the older version, I mean the current version perhaps, and they haven't released a new version. The new version that they've been testing, and I know they've been testing it because we've been working with them, I just didn't know if they released it yet. But it's due to release shortly, and you'll be able to, from within QuoteSoft, do all of this.
Okay.
Okay? Yep. But just in case, you can also do it from here. So it really doesn't take that much more time, frankly. But I think it's really neat that you can do a number of functions from within QuoteSoft. But of course, that's just, keep in mind here, and this is probably an important, if you can begin to get your arms around it, if you're going to participate in all the sessions that we offer in this workshop series, you will at the end you really will get a sense of what the tool, the possibilities anyways, of what the tool could do for your company. But it works. Sync works pretty much in every phase of the construction process, from the very beginning, making sure that your estimating tool is up to date with current pricing, but all the way through the construction process, from being able to create bill of materials from within your CAD modeling software, and using that bill of material with not just the current manufacturer price, but how about what your sell price could be or what your buy price could be, so you could really look at doing some what-if scenarios from within the CAD model. So that's always a possibility. Another phase is obviously when you get sign-off from the engineer that says, yeah, we're going to be going to, we're going to sign off that floor, and we're going to release it so that you can begin fabrication, whether it's prefab or fabrication on site. And you're going to start procuring some of these elements. So you can use this tool to communicate directly with your shop fabrication manager. You can use it to communicate with your purchasing manager, and you can use it to, and your purchasing manager can use it to communicate with your vendors. So there's just a variety of different ways that the tool can be engaged, and that's what we'll be getting into as this workshop series progresses.
Does this work with Assemble, which is a CAD program?
Assemble, I've never even heard of that one. Okay. Who publishes it?
We have a CAD department here that we scan things in and we do different things. So I'd have to find out who publishes it.
Yeah. Well, all that is needed, by the way, is, and it's this really neat thing. And if you're interested, I'll show you. Let's see what we see it here. Let's show it to you through the search tool. So open up search, and I'm just going to just give you a real quick search. ROT. That's all I have to type in, ROT. So see this thing right here, HPH code?
Mm-hmm.
That is the secret. It's a very simple thing, but it's the secret ingredient that allows all of this magical kind of cross-referencing and automated updating process to take place. So as it relates to your Assemble CAD program, if
those codes are embedded, if the codes are embedded in that program, then that will work with it.
Absolutely will work with it. And if it has the ability to extend its library, in other words, think of this item being a record, and each of these items are fields. This is just a field. So if your Assemble product has the ability to extend additional data to that item, in other words, be able to edit and populate it with HPH item code, then you've got all the capability there to build it out with HPH item code so that you can keep it updated, both with pricing, both the manufacturer list price or your buy price. Because if you know your buy price, then you really can get articulate with your margins, and from a estimating perspective, with your estimates. And I'll just show you one last little thing here because I can't help myself. As you can tell, I really think it's an awesome tool. So here is my library, okay, of 153,000 items, okay, and I've got this concept of a manufacturer list item. These items I haven't yet priced with my distributor, but if I just put in a couple basic things, again, raw, okay, these items I have sent out for quote, and look what I'm able to do. I not only been able to identify my manufacturer list price, but in my catalog, I now have my buy price. I've got a much more articulate estimate price versus just using manufacturer lists. People in the past have used multipliers, etc., but I can use a much more refined, knowing what my current buy price is, some margin based on that, what I can use for an estimate, and then what I could use for a sell price. And obviously, I'm selling for a hell of a lot more than the manufacturer list price, but this is all me making this stuff up, okay? So it's not real. But I just wanted to show you that you can now have all these additional pricing tiers or pricing slices that could be of value to you one way or another. And we'll be talking about all that in the next couple of workshops. That help?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. Any other questions, guys? Because I've gone 10 minutes past, and usually have my hand slapped for that. But Elizabeth's not on this call, so my hand today. And I hope it's been helpful.
What time is your next one on Thursday? Because I'm getting a new computer on Thursday.
All right.
So I don't know if I'll be able to log in or have one to log into.
At 1 o'clock, and I am recording these. So if you would like the recording, if you can't make it and you'd like a recording, then just drop a note to Elizabeth, and she'll send you the recording.